Hello, fellow detectives. Welcome to Unlocked, the official podcast for all things Nancy Drew by Her Interactive. I'm your host, Tammy Tuckey, and this week we welcome a new voice actor who is a part of Midnight in Salem, Danny Gendron, to the show. Welcome.
Hey, thanks so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
I know we were talking about like a little bit off air that I've only kind of chatted with a couple people. It seems like this month of November and December we're really highlighting Midnight in Salem because a lot of people are really excited for the new game's arrival because it's been a couple years. So I wanted to first ask you if you knew anything about the games initially before kind of going in and on auditioning for the game itself.
I had not had a lot of experience playing the Nancy Drew games, but I was aware that they were like a really big deal. You know, they've been around for a long time. They sort of went away for a bit and then came back to like a lot of fanfare. Everyone's very excited about them. And I'm always, really excited to be a part of something that has a fan base, people who are looking forward to the next installment. It's a really cool place to be in. And, it makes you want to do a good job because there's people that are excited to see the product,
Have you known about Nancy as a character and the Hardy Boys as well, too? You kind of grew up knowing about them, right? Or did you read the books, too?
Absolutely, actually. The Hardy Boys and Nancy Drew both were like some of my first, when you're learning to read kind of books. I was kind of a late reader, and they were sort of the first books that kind of hooked my attention when around like, I don't know, maybe third or fourth grade or so. Nothing really excited me in the world of reading. And then I remember at my library, I checked out some Nancy Drew and some Hardy Boys, and it began a lifelong love of the mystery genre that I don't think I've ever shaken. And that when I'm still always looking for the next great mystery book, and it all kind of went back to those OGs.
So when you kind of got into the fact of knowing that you're going to be a part of a game, did you want to research like what previously had been released? So you kind of had a little bit of a view of how it was going to be used, your voice in the game?
I certainly did some of that after the fact, but they told me that I was a brand new character. And at the risk of sounding too actory about it, I thought it would be easier for my, sort of performance in the moment if I knew just as little as the character is supposed to, right? So this character, is kind of this character, Jason Danforth, is kind of the like cocky rich kid in town, who is sort of mysterious, there's a mysteriousness under all of his confidence. And so I thought if I approached it with everything like, oh, hey, how's it going? Cool. What's your name again? Oh, right. Sweet. No, see you later. That would kind of help me out through the script.
So when you finished recording, what did you kind of want to jump in to see about the other games? Like, was there something that caught your eye or, caught your attention?
Well, I guess I didn't realize that there were, there is sort of an ongoing story / soap opera of the recurring characters in the games. Things that happen in previous games, build up and stack on into future games. And so that's very exciting as well. The idea that maybe Jason could be part of this gang moving forward.
And when they kind of jumped in to say to you, hey, we want to, they bring you into a recording studio, obviously. So are you based in Seattle? You did your recording sessions with some of the actual people who are behind the games, the producers and the directors, right?
Yeah, the whole team, it was a large team, it seemed to be, but we recorded down in Los Angeles. That's where I live. And I believe most of the voice talent was also from LA, or at least in LA. There was a few other people recording that same day. And then actually a friend of mine that I know from the scene is in it as well, an actress named Reba Burr, who's really fabulous. So I think most of the voice acting was recorded in Los Angeles.
Oh, wow. Okay. So were they there for your recording physically, or were they there via call?
No, they were there. There was a big team from Her Interactive right behind the glass, and it was actually really a very pleasant recording experience because there were so many people able to kind of give feedback and check, the viability of a read, because it is such an important, the delivery is very important in this game because the answers change based on what questions the Nancy Drew character asks. And so they have to be really locked in to what kind of answers they need, because maybe, if I'm delivering it like too angry or not angry enough or whatever it is, they're able to, know exactly what not only this moment in the game is, but like what has been asked up until this point. It's this ever-changing tree of choices, so they really need to be on top of it. So they were right there, and it was really helpful to have them just sort of telling me, okay, actually we need to do it this way or what have you.
So how long was your recording session? Was it a one-day thing, or did you come back?
My recording session was about 2 hours, maybe actually 3, and we really used, all that time. It was a lot of lines to get through because, again, you're not just recording a scene, you're recording the same scene like 3 different times. One with the cool, laid back, hey, nothing's bothering me version, and then one version where I'm like edgy and like, hey, why'd you say that? Kind of thing. So it was a lot of fun. It was a blast, actually. I mostly do commercial voiceover, and so it's always a treat to get to do some video game performance.
Did you get a chance to work with any of the voiceover actresses or actors who were also in the games, or did you guys just pass each other in the hallway when you guys were going in and out of sessions?
It was really just passing each other in the hallway. Yeah. And Reba, my friend, I didn't even know she was in it. And she actually reached out to me and she was like, did I just hear your name mentioned in the, that you're in this game? I was like, yeah, totally. That was so exciting. So that was really fun.
That's awesome. So you get to work with the team. So was there anything that you got a chance to ad-lib? Was there any questions that you had for them about delivery-wise? Because, jumping into something like this where there's 3 different things, 3 different versions of how a conversation can go. Did you have any other questions, or did you just keep it pretty much, okay, I will read what we have on the paper, and if there's anything else you want me to add, I'll go for it. Just so you can keep yourself, out of the loop of maybe who's who and who's the culprit, that type of thing.
Right. I think, I think sort of what you're saying, like you can't improv so much that, it's going to affect the story or affect the outcome or whatever. I think what we would do is, it was mostly just reading what was on the page, because again, it is sort of this intricate, tree of narratives and stuff like that. But there was, I remember a couple of opportunities where like, and try and throw in a different line or a different kind of like, a little mumble at the end of it. Like, yeah, see you later. Or not, whatever, that's not a good example, but just like, something, a little tag like that was something that they were receptive to. And then I read a couple characters like, man in crowd and stuff. And so that was actually very fun because I didn't even know that was happening on the day. And so I was like, all right, just come up with another voice. And, whereas Jason kind of sounds like this, the man in crowd was just like, this is not acceptable. It was very gruff and, like, I guess he was like a trucker or something. I don't know.
Well, Jason has a father in the game. Did you kind of want to delve into who he was and what exactly he sounded like? Did you ask them if you could hear what exactly that interaction might have been like if you had, been recording with that specific actor?
I actually, just by luck of the scheduling, met the actor playing Judge Danforth. Although I regret to say I'm forgetting his name at the moment. It was quite a while ago now. But he was very nice. So I did get to hear his voice and kind of get his vibe, But I think one of the strengths of Her Interactive and their games is that their characters, it's not that they're like cliches, but they're strong archetypes, right? They got such a handle on the types of characters that appear in mystery stories, right? So when you hear that, there's a small town and there's a powerful judge and his kind of smart ass son who's getting into trouble, you kind of start to fill in, the gaps. That's the fun of being an actor. Like there's a strong foundation there that lets you come up with, at least in your head, the point of view of this person, the point of view that would lend you to react this way or that way to the other thing. And if I'm way off base, they let me know. But it's a surprisingly, what do you say? What do you call color by numbers situation? Like I'm trying to give them what I think they need, and they sort of nudge me in the right direction if it's not really on base.
Now, the game takes place in Salem, which is very notable for the witch trials, obviously. So when they kind of told you the location of the game, what were your thoughts on that? Had you known a little bit more about it? Were you a Crucible fan when you were in high school? What was your kind of, gather of Salem?
Oh, I was actually in the Crucible. Thank you very much. I was
awesome.
I grew up in New Hampshire, which is southern New Hampshire, Derry, New Hampshire, which is very close to Salem, Massachusetts. Every year for Halloween, there is some haunted hayride or whatever that's doing a riff on Salem witches and things like that. And it's a classic field trip to go visit Salem, Massachusetts for Halloween, around Halloween, and you go and you learn all the history and stuff like that. But yeah, so I was Reverend Hale in the Crucible, so I actually know a good deal about it. And I think it provides an interesting color, an interesting color to this game, because it's not really connected to it, but it's just sort of like, oh, here's this spooky town with this spooky connection to this awful thing that happened and has been hundreds of years ago and has been interpreted and misinterpreted so many times that it adds to the layer of the themes of sort of like corruption and power that are in this game. I do like history. I don't know that I'm necessarily seeking out historical like spooky tours or things like that, like those like graveyard tours or whatever. They're not necessarily my bag, but I do find the Salem witch trials so interesting because it's a story of people who were in power and claiming one horror was happening. The one horror they were claiming was happening was that women were possessed by the devil and practicing witchcraft and using that as an excuse to kill them. And in reality, that was the real horror. It was the horror was that they were being unjustly sort of murdered, for lack of a better word. So it has all the makings of a haunted story, right? Like the idea that it was like they used the supernatural as an excuse to do something way worse, that if you believe in spirits and ghosts and whatever, that that's exactly the kind of thing that leaves ghosts lingering around, is unjustly murdering them. Ghosts hate that.
Now, here's the thing that her interactive team has let me know, that Jason as the character has fears in this game, which players will learn about later as they progress through the game. Is there anything creepy in real life that scares you?
Anything creepy in real life that scares me? Let me think. I think I recently discovered I'm not great with heights, and I didn't know that about myself.
Oh boy.
Yeah. And I also, claustrophobia runs rampant in my family. Another one that I thought I got out clean with. And then recently was sleeping in a tent and woke up kind of all wrapped up in my sleeping bag and was facing the corner of my tent and just totally forgot where I was and had a panic attack about oh my God, what's going on? And woke up the whole camp, and then I apologized to everyone politely and went back to sleep. But yeah, we just got out of Halloween, time right now. It's early November when we're recording this. And I was just watching The Conjuring for the first time. I loved that movie. Demons and spooky little children wandering around scare houses.
You have a favorite Halloween movie? Since I still think we should be able to talk about Halloween. I really don't mind that it's not October, but did you have a favorite Halloween movie growing up?
Favorite Halloween movie growing up? I was a real scaredy cat growing up. I didn't love scary movies until later in life. I remember having severe nightmares off of Ernest Scared Stupid. Remember the Ernest movies?
Yes.
In Ernest Scared Stupid, there are scary goblin men that hide under people's beds, and you can only kill them by, I think, shooting them with milk or something like that. They would put milk in super soakers, and that's how they got rid of the trolls or the gnomes or something. But they were grotesque and very spooky, and I did not like them.
I don't blame you on that end. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie in ages, but yet there's certain images as a kid, you're like, oh my gosh, that's too disturbing. I know Hocus Pocus, the beginning opening of them sucking the soul out of the little girl scared me so
or the guy
much.
The guy with the lips, stitched shut, and he has to kind of cut them open. That really sticks with me too.
Yeah, Billy the zombie. I was no.
Another one I just remembered, it's not even a movie, but do you remember the PBS show Ghost Rider?
Yes, I do. Oh my gosh, you're taking me back now.
Oh yeah, like Ghost Rider was a show where every week it was like Scooby-Doo. Like it seemed like something supernatural was happening, but it turned out it was just, Old Man Jenkins or whatever, or it was a dream or something like that. And then they did a Halloween special where a story they wrote was like coming to life, and it was this like weird little bubblegum man who was like looked like chewing gum. And like he got bigger and people were like trapped in like gobs of pink yucky gum, and that really sticks out to me as like a early spooky memory.
What is like one of the most important things as a voiceover actor, or maybe one of the most important things you've learned along the way thus far?
One of the most important things I've learned thus far is definitely to not overestimate how much you need to do to sell a character. So I think when people think of voiceover, their reference points are a lot of the things we were talking about, right? Like SpongeBob and Dexter and all these characters that have big, crazy voices, right? They're very, big and over the top, and obviously the performances are very nuanced, but like the sound itself to someone who's not paying attention is just loud and kind of intense and whatever. I've learned recently that it's way more effective to try and be as naturalistic as possible. And that was certainly the case with Jason, with the Jason Danforth character. It was like, I don't know what else you could do, but these are all supposed to be like normal, young adults. Like these are supposed to be just people that are living their lives. And so you couldn't go too naturalistic on this particular project. And I think that's where a lot of video game acting is at right now. Unless they're going for like a very specific style, most video games are trying to lend an air of, I'm going to bust out a big word. Here we go. Verisimilitude, that, you can't get if everyone's doing big, insane voice choices. And so I think if everyone's sort of trying to be just real humans, it makes this, it helps this barrier of uncanniness come down a little bit because everyone's playing it so straight and so real. If there is a voice actor that you really admire, go seek out their roles and really listen to them and really figure out, what is it about them and their natural quality that is making this character work. Someone who's like a total hero of mine is John DiMaggio, who's Bender on Futurama, and he's the King on Disenchantment more recently, and he's Jake on Adventure Time. And, he's not someone with like a massive range of voices, right? It's when you hear his voice, it's very distinct and it, and yet he's still able to make all of his performances work and make them very varied and different, and that's acting, right? So he's sort of this interesting utility because he has such a distinct voice and you can't miss him, and yet he's still able to figure out how to make himself blend into each role he takes on. I would recommend people pick an actor they like and really figure out how are they able to do that? What is it that they're doing that makes this work?
And kind of going back to Jason really quickly, there's another tidbit that they let me know about, which is that, Jason has a very fancy car. So if you ever got the chance to pick any car in the world that you'd like to have and own, what would it be?
I live really close to this like kind of ritzy neighborhood here in Echo Park, LA. Like there's like, it's sort of a thing in LA where like you're on one street and it's like totally normal and totally fine. You go one street over and it's like the most beautiful houses you've ever seen in your life. And I walk my dog over there and there's a maroon Corvette Stingray parked on that car that I just like stare at every time I walk past it. I'm not much of a car guy, but I look at that and I'm like, yeah, that's the one. Give me that car.
Have you seen it in action? Like, does it go really fast?
No, I have not seen it in action yet. I'm worried if I ever like ran into the actual driver of the car, he'd be like, "Hey, are you that guy that keeps staring at my car?"
Hey, we can all dream, right?
Right.
So your character is a bit of a flirt with the ladies. This is just what they're telling me. I don't know. But they said they loved your performance of Jason. They thought it was really fun. So what was it like performing those specific lines? You know, did you get a major reaction from the directors? Do you remember or recall any of that?
I do, actually. I know exactly what this question is referring to. But so, yeah, no, the flirting was like super fun to play because I would never have the confidence in a million years to, you know, just speak as plainly and directly as Jason does to Nancy when he meets her. But my very first line that I had to record was something along the lines of like, you know, hey, all right, I'll see you later. Oh, hey. And then I turn to Nancy Drew and I just go, hi, Jason Danforth. And it was like, it was maybe even like more sultry and slick and smooth than that. And the second I did it, every woman in the recording booth burst out laughing. And they were like, yeah, maybe we should dial that down a little bit. And I was like, oh, really? You think? Like, I was trying to flirt and every single woman in the room laughed. So not a good sign.
Yeah, their additional question was, are you a natural at this, or experienced, or just good at acting?
That is that's a silly.
They love you.
I'm all red right now at that question. That's very funny.
This is making me excited just to hear your performance now.
I don't think I'm I don't know. Maybe my fiance would disagree with me, but I don't think I'm a very good flirt. Yeah, she's literally rolling her eyes at me right now. But yeah, so I don't know. Well, I've been with her for a long time, but I maybe sometimes every now and then the flirting comes out.
And if you could describe your experience working with Her Interactive and now being officially a part of the Nancy Drew universe, what word would that be?
One word. I'm going to do two. Massively great. Jeez, what a letdown. No, it was an incredible experience. I mean, as an actor, it's very rare that you get to really be a part of something with that people really care about. I know that sounds a little cynical, but I'm also a writer in addition to an actor, and like I've worked on a lot of shows where, like, you know, you come in and you try to be as excited as possible, and just there's this air of like jadedness coming off of everybody, and it really sucks the fun out of what is supposed to be a very fun industry. Working with her was such a incredible experience. I mean, it was so fun and so caring, and it's very clear that these people are invested in making a fabulous and extremely entertaining product, and I have no doubt that it's going to be. I'm excited, and the fans should be excited too.